Hello frequencies. This is Aspirants Frequency channel. In this video, in the series of economic survey of the financial year 2023-24, we are seeing each chapter in a single pager, in one pager notes, in a separate videos. In this video, we are going to see the fifth chapter, that is the medium term outlook. Let's directly get into the concepts. First, the disguised unemployment. We know that unemployment is there are different kinds of unemployment, like frictional unemployment, disguised unemployment, and three for unemployment. In this chapter, they have discussed about disguised unemployment, that is for a single work where one person can do a work, there are more than one person, that is more than one person, so that there is lesser wages and competitive prices, creating disguised unemployment. Then the INDC and the Panchamrit. INDC, the nationally determined contributions for the climate achievements. Then the Panchamrit target, which is the 5 targets, which is a strategy used for reducing the carbon emission and achieving the Paris Agreement. It includes like the 500 gigawatt of non-fossil energy, 50% of renewable energy capacity, reducing 1 billion ton of carbon emission, then reducing the carbon intensity by 45% of the GDP, then achieving net zero by 2070. INDC and the Panchamrit target are overlaps. The targets overlap both, where the 50% non-fossil installed electric capacity and the for reducing carbon intensity to 45% of the GDP are both integrated. Then the greenium or green premium, that is, for example, if one person is buying a bond, the bond is utilized for an afforestation activity, that is a green activity, so that for every investment there should be a dividend. Here the dividend is less compared to the other bonds, but he is investing in an afforestation activity, that is green activity. The dividend, that is the difference between the normal dividend and the green dividend, this difference is the green premium. That is, the people who are responsible towards the society and the environmental causes are investing in the green premium bonds, that is called as the greenium. It's a simple concept. In the Engels law speaks about that when there is an rise in income, the food expenditure gets reduces, that is non-food expenditures like housing and other electronic consumption and other goods consumption, durable goods consumption gets increased, so that there is when there is food expenditure reduces, gradually agriculture production will also gets reduces. This is what the Engels law says. Contrary to the Engels law, Bennett's law says when the income increases, the food expenditure obviously increases, but it doesn't directly say that the agriculture production itself decreases. Rather, instead of normal staple crops expenditure reduces, rather nutritional crops expenditure gets increased. Instead of people relying only on the food security for basic food security, they will be moving towards the nutrition expenditure, higher the nutrition expenditure. So as well as comparatively the agriculture production will also gets increases. This is what the contrary between the Engels law and the Bennett's law. Then the water criticality, it is the level to which the water capacity is utilized in wherever the groundwater, which is mostly mentioned. This is some of the concepts which are discussed in the chapter. Then the data reports and organizations are like the workforce, that is the generally between 15 to 59 years of age group, spread upon different categories of different sectors, the primary, secondary and tertiary sectors. In agriculture, around 45% of the workforce is under employment. Then the manufacturing around 11.4%, and the construction 28%, and the services 13%. The data are important for the means value addition because the higher concentration of agriculture sector causing the disguised unemployment, so that reduce in income and further poverty gets increased. Then the status on education and vocational training report released by the National Statistical Office, which says around only 2.2% of people are getting formal vocational training, then 8.6 are getting informal vocational training. Combinedly around less than 10 to 11 percentage are getting the vocational training. That is a serious threat for skill gap. That is, people are getting educated, that is graduated, but can't get a practical applied knowledge. That's what mentioned in this, from that's what we can infer from this report. That is the skill gap or academic to industrial gap, what they are mentioning. Then the state of inequality in India report, which says around top 1% wealthy people are having the 6 to 7% of the total income, which says how the inequality and the poverty gap between the rich and the poor. Then the ICMR report says 56.4% of the total disease burden is due to unhealthy diet. That is, rather communicable diseases like cholera, some other, compared to the communicable diseases, the uncommunicable diseases due to unhealthy diet, adult food habits, roadside food consumption, these are causing diabetes, which are the main reason for the total disease burden, which also leads to the cardiovascular diseases. That is the main burden which we are looking to upon. The irrigation efficiency is the how much water you get irrigated and the required output you are getting. The surface water irrigation gets around 30 to 40 percentage of the efficiency, but the groundwater irrigation in the sense, that is drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation using micro irrigation techniques like drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, they are providing around 50 to 60 percentage of the efficiency compared to the surface or basin irrigation. So there will be the water stress will get reduced, then the efficiency or output increased, then the farmers income also get increased. These are the indirect effects which get from the irrigation efficiency. Then the organizations like World Bank and World Bank Group. World Bank Group consists World Bank. There is a difference between World Bank Group and World Bank. There are 5 organizations, like that is International Development Agency, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, International Center for Settlement and Investment Disputes. These are the 5 organizations which wholly said as the World Bank Group, but the World Bank consists of only two organizations, that is the Development Agency and the Bank for Resolution and Reconstruction and Development. These two are only the World Bank. The World Bank Group consists of these 5 organizations. Then the median age of the India is around 28. That is, we have a rich demographic dividend we can reap from the human capital. This is what we can infer from this data, that is the median age of 28, that is the working population age from 50 to 59 years. We have around, in this age group, the median age is around 28. So we have a huge potential for exploring this area of people when you give a sufficient skill and knowledge. Then the Capacity Building Commission of India, that is known as the Amrit Gyan Kosh, which serves as the knowledge bank for the civil servants for continuously improving their knowledge even after in services, apart from the training. Then the schemes which are discussed here are the Viksit Bharat 2047, that is the making India a developed nation in 2047. Then the PM Mudra Yojana for the MSMEs. Mudra denotes the Micro Unit Development and Refinance Agency for developing the MSMEs. Credit Guarantee and Fund Scheme for MSCs. This is for micro and small industries, for providing credit loan for capital guarantee. Then the national infrastructure pipeline, then the national monetization pipeline, then the dedicated freight corridor. National infrastructure pipeline is creating world-class infrastructure in all over India. Then the national monetization pipeline is like a disinvestment or reducing the public burden by by privatization or disinvestment. That is basically a PPP model, private public private partnership model, for increasing the service delivery and reducing public or government's burden. From this, the government has targeted around 6 lakh crore disinvestment plan. Then the dedicated freight corridor is the railway connectivity between the important cities, just only for the freight corridor. That is the improving the logistics, because the railway line has the lowest freight charge compared to, that is carrying logistics from one area to another. So the dedicated freight corridor or scheme is being announced, and the scheme is the east-west corridor. East-west corridor is being completed now at a faster pace. Then the MSME has the emergency credit line guarantee line scheme for capital investment. Capital investment in MSMEs, micro units. Government is giving a credit guarantee. Then the self-reliant fund. Then the RAM program. RAM program is the raising and accelerating MSMEs performance through RAM program. Then the priority sector lending for MSME, that the banks provide loans for MSMEs as a priority sector, as well as some other like the health, education, housing, agriculture for small and marginal farmers. These are some of the priority sector lending categories. Udayam Assist platform is for the faster registration and licensing of the MSMEs. The PM Kisan scheme for providing input to the farmers. Then the PM Fasal Bima Yojana is an insurance for crop insurance scheme. These two are income support scheme, that is providing support to the farmers from the income side, that is input side. Then MSME is the price support, that is it's the end of the income support is provided at the initial stage of agriculture, that is cropping season. Then the price support is at the end of the cropping season or at the harvesting season it is produced. Know the differences, that is the income support, then the price support. Then the direct seeded rice is the concept which is like instead of growing the paddy fields in the basin irrigation, surface irrigation method, by filling the whole water, that is which causes effects like methane emission. Then the water efficiency, irrigation efficiency will be low. So that for this, the direct seeded rice, that is using drip irrigation, the rice seeds are planted there at the water dripping places, and there will be more kernels, that is more dripplings will be produced. At the same time, irrigation efficiency will be increased and the farmers income also increased. Direct seeded rice. Then the national policy on skill development and industry, it's a policy for the improving the skill gap and the entrepreneurship development. It's under the Ministry of Skill Development. Then the mission Karmayogi is for the enhancing the and continuous learning of knowledge for the civil servants even during their service. Then the workplace framework is mainly used in the mission Karmayogi. Karmayogi competency model is which comprises of the self-awareness, collaboration and inclusion, transparency and compliance knowledge, citizen-centric. This model focus of high interaction between the citizen and the service provider, that is the civil servant. So that if there is more interaction, there will be a citizen-centric focus and there will be a grievance redressal mechanism, and the grievance redressal mechanism will further improve the service delivery. Okay, then some of the keywords which are mentioned in this chapter are the geo-economic fragmentation, which is due to the some like countries which follow the protectionist policies and high debt trap policy. These are some opposite policies which causing the global geopolitical arena into a geo-economic fragmentation. Then the trust deficit, loss of trust between the countries causing trust deficit, inward and outward looking policy, AA, labor market depression, disruption. AA is causing labor market depression, which can be improved by providing sufficient knowledge of AA rather than complaining AA as a disruption. Skill gap, which we have seen. Then the Chinese conundrum. Conundrum is nothing but the dilemma. That is, India has a dilemma of whether we can integrate with China or we can compete with China. If we integrate with China, we will lose the sovereignty kind of thing. Then they compete with China, it takes huge investment and opposition and other security related effects which we saw in the Galwan Valley and some other areas. That's the conundrum for India. That is the dilemma for India, whether to integrate with China or we can compete with China. If we integrate with China, we will have the traditional partners like US will get opposed, and if we compete with China, we need further investments. Like this is the Chinese conundrum. Then the deregulation of industry. Then the multiplier effect, which is for a lesser input we are getting the higher output. That is, the output gets multiplied rapidly for the particular input. Then we are moving from food security to nutritional security, which is a step grow towards the agriculture sector. Then the bottom up reforms, rather the top down, instead of top down approach, we can also follow the bottom up reform so that it will be more efficient. Then these are the quotes like open minds are a good place to start. Then sabka saath, sabka prayas, sabka visas. These are the things which can be used in the conclusion part. Then this is my Venn diagram where the agricultural challenges today are food and nutrition security, mitigating climate change, then the sustainable use of critical resources like water, fertilizers, then other inputs. These are the great agriculture challenges which we can mention in the economic part of this program of the answers in our mains exam. Okay, that's it for the video. I kindly recommend, for those who are new to this video, kindly watch the previous chapters. It's just some 20 minutes video which will be very useful for you in the mains answer writing, especially not only in the GS area but also in other GS2 and other parts where the schemes and codes and keywords can be used, of course. Kindly watch the video, and I will also attach the PDF of the one pager notes in the description box. Thank you.